morning, YouTube family. Okay, so the last video you saw, we were under about 42 inches of snow, and we were shoveling, and thank goodness we had someone come to help us to make not only some pathways to be able to drive our vehicles out, but also some pathways so we can get to and from the animal housing a lot easier, and then be able to have the horses to walk out. Hudson was stuck in the barn for 10 days because of his gelding. We had 2 days of like okay-ish weather for him to get out and get some energy out. He is full of pee and vinegar. And so he really needed to get some of his energy out, especially after being in from the surgery. And then we've had all of this bad weather. We even had another power outage last night. And so we thought we would walk them out and let them get a few minutes of their energy out, even though there's a lot of snow. But the snow is so deep that we're now worrying that they're gonna try to get back over. Hudson keeps kind of lining himself up to the gate thinking like he's gonna take a run for it. So I think we're gonna give them about 10 or 15 more minutes here, supervise with us here, and then put them back in the barn. So it's unfortunate the snow is just so deep that there's really nothing we can do. A friend of mine that lives locally who has horses had to have people come over to help her because her horses were just stepping over the horse fencing for their pastures. And so I think a lot of people are having horse issues right now with all the snow that has landed in our province. It's just absolutely been insane. You can see this is already some snow melted, it's compacted, it's super hard on the ground now, and it's just a disaster. There's just no other word for it. Okay, so I promised when we started showing some of the things we were doing to begin our homestead that I would show you everything that was good, bad, and ugly along the way. And doing this when you don't have the experience from when you were younger of growing up on a farm means that everything you do is a learning curve. And just like when you're a mother and you have a baby for the first time, they always tell you like, trust your gut and you'll know just what to do. And I try to remember that when we get new animals and we don't have the experience before getting them. But I should have trusted my gut when we got our pigs. You know that a couple of weeks ago, we went and picked up our largest pig that we got, Ragna. And when we went to the farm, we were so excited to go and get our first Kunekune pig. This breed is a pig that Philip showed me about a year ago, and I completely fell in love, and I knew that eventually when I found the right pigs that I would welcome 2 girls and 1 boy into our homestead so that eventually we could do some breeding with them and also have them as pets of our own along the way. And with some goals of having some long-term sustainability to eventually have some of our own meat, not from our breeders, but from litters that come from those. So I had big goals and really put a lot of time and research into getting Kunekunes and what would they need and all the things that they would add to our homestead, and really took a lot of time with Philip. We discussed so many different elements about getting these things. And so when we found one that we thought was like the perfect first Kunekune, we were so excited. When you pull up to any farm to go and pick up an animal, you never know what you're going to pull into. And we didn't film, and we usually don't film when we go to these places because not only for privacy of the farms that we're going to, but let's be honest, most farms aren't really that aesthetically pleasing when you pull up. And not everyone has perfect husbandry to take care of their animals. Farmers get super busy, they get backlogged with projects, and it's just kind of polite not to show their farm because we're not there to judge, we're just there to pick up an animal that we're going to purchase. So we went and we picked up Ragna, and when we were there, we were pretty shocked at the condition of the barn stalls that she was in, and it was pretty bad. I'm not going to lie to you, it was pretty bad, and I thought, oh, thank gosh, we've come to get this pig because she needs us, and this is going to be a much better place for her. We're going to get her nice and clean. You saw that we gave her a shower and a bath and our clawfoot, got her all scrubbed up. She wasn't just like pig dirty. She was like really dirty, like questionable how dirty she was, and probably has never seen the outside. There was a few things that were, pretty rough about the place where we picked her up, but we wanted her and we knew that we could give her a better life, so we brought her home, and we absolutely love her. So much that with only a couple of days, I had found the second perfect piggy to bring home, our little girl Frida. And then now you've seen we welcomed our boy Erickson. And both of those farms were, again, like dirty, typical animal husbandry, dirty like any other farm, but not quite like the first pig that we brought home. That place was pretty rough inside where she was staying. I should have trusted my gut, because when we did that video, when we showed you that we gave her a bath and I was saying that she was pretty gunky in the ears and she was itching a little bit, and I know from previous like almost 20 years ago when Philip and I bought a puppy from a farm that it had ear mites and it had some black gunk in the ears. And so I knew from that experience that probably the black stuff in their ears maybe wasn't just dirt buildup and that potentially she could have mites. And so I knew that they couldn't transfer to other animals on our farm, so I wasn't overly concerned and thought that I would watch it for a bit. Now that we cleaned and wiped out all of her ears and gave her a really good scrub, maybe she didn't and it was just dirt and gross buildup. Well, she has mites. And now we have 2 other pigs that have been with her, and now all 3 of our piglets have mites. And so lesson learned, my new goal for 2024 for being a homesteader, and one of my skills to learn this year is that I need to trust my gut and just know that I'm always with my heart trying to do the best thing possible, and I should just listen to myself sometimes when I think that maybe there's something that I need to do. I just always want to do the right thing, so I don't know why I always second guess myself, but I did in this situation, and it was the wrong decision. I should have just got the stuff to cure them from mites with or without knowing for sure she had them, and then we wouldn't be in the predicament that we're in now. So my new goal, trust myself. Whether it be animals, children, or anything else, just trust my gut. And usually I'm not wrong, so it will probably yield out good for me in the end. So yesterday we went for the long drive to our city, our closest area where there's a few stores, and went to the feed shop. And luckily they had the medication that we need to be able to deworm, demite, delice, whatever they have. We picked up something called ivermectin. And this is a medication that some people give orally, but it is recommended on the bottle that you don't do it orally and that you give it with an injection. So we need to give an injection to each of the pigs, and this should just zap whatever they got, whatever they pass to each other. But I want to show you what has happened with the pigs and why we know for sure now that they have mites, because they have some symptoms that are like unavoidable to see that's happening to them now. And we need to like nip this in the butt and get rid of this right away, which means we need to give them the medication, completely strip them of all of the bedding that they've had, really clean their space, and give them another bath, wipe out their ears, give them the full works all over again, which was kind of fun for us anyway, so that's fine. And then this should totally take care of it. We keep an eye on it for about 10 days to 2 weeks, and then we'll know for sure if we need to do a second treatment, but this should get it in one full go, especially with an injection. So milestone on the property today is that we were able to diagnose something that we've never done before, so that's always great. Number 2, that we have to give an injection to each of our pigs, which we have also not done before, and be able to kind of do everything that we need to do. So although this is a bad and an ugly of homesteading, this is something that I think every farm goes through at some point. And now that we know what it is, every so often we'll be able to do this as a preventative measure, because we don't have that stuff going on at our farm. We keep super clean husbandry and we do all the things that we need to do to care for them. So this shouldn't be an issue ever again, but we want to make sure, just like our horses, we deworm them regularly. We do things to make sure that seasonally things like this don't happen. But she clearly never got that before coming here, and now we have a problem, so we need to fix it. Okay, so we're going to be super brave today. Thank goodness we have been handling our piglets so much, and they love belly rubs and ear scratches and being handled and touched basically anywhere, because that's going to come in super good handy today, because we need to do that with the pigs, and we need to be able to give them an injection behind their ear. So if these were pigs that we never handled and never did anything with, the chances of not only catching them in the pasture or, getting a hold of them to pick them up or do what we need to do with them was going to be a lot harder. So I think we made this a lot easier for ourselves than if we wouldn't have done that. Laying all together. So they have been stuck in now, as you've seen, for 4 or 5 days without being able to muck out or clean out their bedding. And that's fine, because we need to completely rid this whole area. And normally they would be able to go outside to use the washroom, but because we've had 4 feet of snow and the fence lines and stuff have not been accurate, they've had to go in this area. Pigs do not like to go to the restroom in their bed, and so they probably haven't liked that too much, but when the weather drops this much snow, it's not a whole lot you can do, and you have to make do with what you've got at that time. So they're going to get a total bed clean out, but before we do that, we're going to give them the injection, and I want to show you what's been happening. So I'm not sure if you can see, if Ragna will back up for us, but she has, aside from that she has black fur here, she has a lot of black gunk all around her eyes, and she has very sticky gunk all behind her ears. And I would have to show you by opening her ears up when I get in there, but inside of her ears looks like black tar. It's just sticky. It has a little bit of a smell to it. And she's not itching right now, but you'll often see her itching.
She is.
Oh, yeah, Frida's itching her booty right now. Because these mites obviously bite them, and although we can't see them with our eye, they're definitely there. And so all of the black gunk you can see around the bottom of Erickson's eye is not his fur color. Oh, yeah, Ragna's itching right now. But Erickson has black all underneath his eyes, and Frida has a bunch of dry, kind of crusty stuff around her eyes as well, which tells me that they all have it, aside from the fact that they're all itching. So you can see that Frida has this really dark, crusty, and almost like losing some hairs around her eye. And inside her ears is really, really black and pasty, and she's super itchy. So we need to get that fixed up.
She's
Ragna,
super cute.
She is super cute. Ragna's starting to thin. She already was when she got here. She was much thinner in her hair here than the other two, which to me also was one of the signs I thought I noticed. But you can see behind her ears how she's really gunky. And we've already cleaned and wiped all that out several times. And you saw we gave her a bath, and you can see around her eyes here and how she's missing a lot of her hair here. Her tail also has been just eaten like crazy by the mites, which is why she's lost fur there. Erickson, I think, has it the least of all of them because he's the newest pig here. But I can see he's starting to get dark in his ears. I'm not sure if Frida will move her booty. Move your booty, Frida! But Erickson's ears inside are extremely black. Frida, she wants pets. His ears inside are really, really, really gross. Can you see that?
Yeah.
You can see
yeah.
in his ears that he is really gross. He doesn't have the sticky behind his ears yet. Frida's just starting to get it, and her crusties around her eye are very, very bad. So we need to get these guys figured out. So the mites won't come to us. You know, none of that will transfer onto us. None of this can make us sick or any of the animals sick. They're not sick, but who wants to be bitten by insects or have bugs on their pigs or things like that? So if you want to do your own research, you can look it all up. But this is what we've figured out so far. So I picked up something that I have not bought in 12 years because we have a 12-year-old and a 14-year-old, but we got some good old baby bottom wipes so that we can use these to wipe out their ears. It's so much easier. Something like a rag is really thick, and so you can't get it down in the crevices of their ear. Of course, you can't use Q-tips or something because they move around quite a bit. You don't want to poke them in the ear. So these are unscented, the most organic kind of ones I could get. And we've picked up this ivermectin. It says for veterinary use only, but you can buy it right at the feed shop. So definitely, if you do your own homestead, you can do this yourself if you're comfortable. Neither one of us has any problem giving them the injection, although we haven't done it. That kind of stuff doesn't wig us out. So if it wigs you out, then don't watch the part where we do that. We'll let you know before we start. So we picked up a needle here that's going to go on the end of our syringe. That is for the thickness of their skin because you don't want the needle to break while you're putting it into them. And then this one is the right depth for us to be able to go in because we need to be able to not inject this in a vein or in a muscle. So this needs to be just in a fatty spot. And so they suggest on the Kunekune Society that you do it just behind their ear here on a specific angle. So we're going to try to pinch a little bit of their skin behind here and then inject sideways rather than down into where their muscle or veins would be. So we're going to do all of that for them. And then we're going to give them a really good, I'm just going to wipe out their ears and eyes today, but we're not going to bath them today. It's still super cold out, and I want to let this kind of do its magic before we bring them in to be able to scrub them out before we kind of do that. Plan of attack. The Ivermec bottle, and it has just a twist cap here. I opened it inside so I could see what it was, and this was metal connected to that spot, so I just gave it one little twist and it come off. And you can see there's like a rubbery spot in the middle there where I'm not going to touch it with my finger, but in that little spot there, it's metal on the outside and like kind of rubbery on the inside. And we'll be able to push the needle into that on this side here to be able to syringe it into the new syringe we have. And then this will be able to get closed back up again. This is a 50 ml bottle, and it goes by how much weight the pigs are. I think for 66 pounds, they need 1 ml. So we're going to half that for our bigger pig and then do a little bit less than that for both of the smaller ones so we can kind of estimate. There is a math you can do by measuring your pigs in certain shapes and sizes for different ages to be able to do it. But we just need to roughly know what they are, and so that's what we're going to do this time. Who's going to go first? So Philip's going to help me, and we're going to try to do this as painlessly as possible for everyone. We do Ragna first.
Rags.
She's the problem first. So let's get her first. She's also the biggest, so she'll be probably more difficult than the other two because she'll be stronger. Okay. So I'm going to put the needle in the little rubbery spot in the top here. First time doing it. Okay, there we go. I got it that time. All right, and I'm not going to stick myself with it or touch the needle. Okay. That was pretty good. Yep. Okay, we did it.
Good job.
I wasn't worried about doing it. Because I know they don't really feel it much because it's just quick, but Erickson's going to get about 3/4.
Erickson?
Yep, Erickson's going to get 3/4. I'm going to make sure that my finger's not in the way. Okay. Just Rita. Alright, Miss Rita. Well, just pinch yourself and not stab yourself with the needle. Because she doesn't have anything to pinch. Alrighty.
Yay.
Okay. Pretty painless, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
They didn't even really squirm.
No. They just didn't like getting held.
Yeah. So Frida, how are you? Rags, not too happy with us right now at the moment. Erickson seems to be great.
Okay, and I've got the needle back in its container, so we're gonna get a new one for the next time we have to do it. So I'm gonna let them rest for a half hour or an hour or so because I don't want to fuss with them now that they just had that. Give them some of their fruits and veggies, give them something to eat and some water, and just let them chill. And then I'm gonna come out and do their ears and eyes and just give them a little wash as best as I can with just the wipes, and then tomorrow they'll get their bath. The other thing I have to do is we've been brushing them, so I need to make sure that I use one of my, what I call project pots that I don't use for cooking, that I would use for like messy crafts or things around the property. I have an old set of pots and pans that we no longer use. You know, like the old kinds that have the enamel on them that kind of rubs off after so long. Well, now we have a nice stainless steel pot set. So I'm going to use the old pot set, which I have in a project pots box, to boil their brushes that we've been using to comb them with a boiling hot water, and just make sure that they're super sanitized because we've been brushing all 3 pigs with the same brushes. So we've definitely helped mites go from one thing to the other. So that definitely didn't help. But I mean, that would happen to any farm when they use the same supplies for animals. So.
Aww. Poor little piggies. You're the bad wolf today.
Well, I'm really happy not only is she not where she was before and that she's with us, because she will have and does get the good husbandry and things that they need here. And so I'm happy that we did, you know, rescue, even though we bought her, but we rescued her basically from where she was once we kind of got there and saw everything, because she's been so happy here. And as you can see, oh, Frida would like a belly rub while we talk. I'll fill their water bowl while I'm in here.
Yeah. I love them.
Hmm?
I love them.
I know. We got some hooves trimmers this week, so we're going to get their hooves done soon. Well, we did it. Not everything when you do homesteading is always perfect and works out exactly the way you think. And there's always a solution for the problems. And you just have to learn as you go and kind of make do. Philip's just giving them a look over. They're going to have their snack. We got them some veggies and some cabbages and some pellets and stuff. And then we're going to come out in a bit and clean them all up. They're so sweet. Oh, kisses for Frida. So far, we've had the 3 best little piggies ever, and we're so happy that we got them. I knew, just like the horses, I knew we were going to love having them, but until you get them, you just don't know how much you're going to love having them. And these guys have been so much fun. Oh yeah, Erickson is going to grow some tusks. So as he gets bigger, you'll start to see that he's going to grow some tusks because he's our boar. So he's going to have a little bit of a different look than Ragna and Frida because he will have that addition, which I think is going to be really adorable. Oh, Frida likes this tie on my snow pants always. You like to get this?
I'm proud of you, hon. You did really good. It's not always easy to do something new, and then to the extent as what you're doing or what we're doing, giving needles isn't easy. Especially, you're inflicting some pain on your pigs that you love so much, but I think the research that we did and you did it so perfect that they didn't even feel it, and in the end they'll be better for it, and you're a better husbandry for it.
And I know that this is something that we're going to have to do routinely, and because we live so far down where we are, it is so expensive to have a vet come out and do it for us just to give a couple of injections or vaccinations or anything that needs to be done routinely with any of our animals. Our horses will definitely, other than their deworming, we have obviously the vet come out. But if the pigs needed something that was serious, of course, we would have the vet come. But something like this that we can handle, we can definitely do this on our own. It's just a learning curve as you go.
It's super early. I'm really not even very awake yet, but I wanted to come out first thing and check on the piglets. Overall, it was a success being able to give them the shots that they needed. I'm super proud that I was able to do that myself. I know that's not something that everyone can do. A lot of people are pretty squeamish around needles, and especially not to administer it to something or someone else. And so that was actually pretty easy for me. I knew that they needed it. I knew that I had the capability of doing it. I knew I had done the research and watched enough, video and diagrams and stuff to be able to see where I was supposed to do it. And really carefully took the time to, just go through everything I needed to be able to make that a successful medication dose. And now I know that I can do that time and time again when they need it for like routine deworming. And, if they ever had mites or something like this, again, I know that we will routinely deworm them just like we do the horses. Each time that we do it, we'll rotate to a different type. That way their bodies don't get used to. If you give them the same one all the time, the worms and parasites and different things that they can get used to it, and then it's not as effective. So we do want to keep changing it. But essentially, it will be administered the same way, maybe just a different dose. And so I know that I can do this now, which saves us money as well, and also time. And to have someone come from so far away is kind of impossible where we live unless it's an absolute emergency. Good morning, my cuties. You guys are happy this morning. So unfortunately, over the past couple days, even since we had the storm, we've had some power outages. And the reason for that is because we are on a massive power grid. And this big power grid is very outdated. And so when anyone is out in that great big loop, which is like thousands of houses, that means that we will go out. So sometimes it's only for a few hours, sometimes it's a whole day. It just depends. But last winter, we had 17 unexplained, basically, power outages being on this loop, which is why it's so important for us to have our generator and everything. But we haven't been able to get out to be able to refill our jerry cans and, reset up ourselves in case we have another storm. So my job tomorrow is to go and do that because we're in apparently for another storm on Tuesday into Wednesday. So we'll see what we get. But we just haven't been able to catch a break to spend time finishing up things that need to be done in our bathroom renovation because we've had so many outside sources, like these massive, 4 or 5 day storms, things that come up like with the animals or something like that. There was also another event that happened this week that we'll share with you this week when we have the rest of the information on everything to kind of explain to you what's going on with that. But we will be back this week. So if you don't see us, our power is out. If you do see us, we have power. So I love you. Thank you for always cheering me on. This is, was just one of those things that you have to do. And I want to show you everything that we're doing here, whether it happens easily or is a good thing or a success that happens, or even if something's a failure. I'm always happy to show you because I want to show you real life what we're doing is like. So just like when we bought the house and not everything was absolutely perfect when we got here and there were problems along the way, we still find things that need to be done that are unexplained or you know, that we haven't got a chance to get to yet. Just the same, I want to show you that with what we're doing with homesteading. So if anyone is wanting to do something like this, they don't just see that it's all sunshine and rainbows. They see that there's struggles and there's, you know, setbacks and stuff along the way. And I want to show you exactly for real life how that is. And you guys get us pretty raw in our videos, exactly how we are in real life. And if you've met us, you know that that's true. And so it's just good for me to know that we really do show you exactly what we have going on here. So I love you, and I will see you on tomorrow's episode.